कभी कभी मेरे दिल में ख्याल आता है कि जिंदगी तेरी जुल्फों की नरम छाँव में गुजरने पाती तो शादाब हो भी सकती थी। ये रंज और गम की स्याही जो दिल पे छाई है तेरी नज़र की शुआओं में खो भी सकती थी, मगर ये हो न सका और अब ये आलम है कि तू नहीं, तेरा गम तेरी जुस्तजू भी नहीं। गुजर रही है जिंदगी कुछ इस तरह जैसे इसे किसी की सहारे की आरज़ू भी नहीं। A lot of people have actually been intrigued by the title, and they just feel that because Dhanush and my name is kind of incorporated in the title, therefore it's been done for some kind of sensation. That is quite untrue. Shamitabh comes out of the script of the film, and when you see the film, of course, then you will understand why it's there. It's actually a story of two individuals who have different qualities. And there's a journalist that observes this, and that's being played by Akshara. She actually observes these two separate qualities, which individually they possess, but jointly they don't. And she wonders if both of them were to come together, it would be very beneficial for the work or the profession that both of them are in. She does that. They both come together after some persuasion, and they move forward. And in the end, what happens in most of these cases is that ego comes in between the two individuals. How that is resolved or not resolved, that really is the story. The other thing that can be said so far is that I'm going to be giving my voice to Dhanush as a character in the film. And why that voice is given, in what manner it is given, that I'm afraid we can't disclose right now. But we hope that when you see the film, you will appreciate that. But really, Balki has a very intellectual, very sensitive mind. He thinks differently. He's always made stories that have not been the regular escapist fare that you see in Hindi cinema. Whether it was Chini Kam, whether it was Pa, and now Shamitabh, they've always been an element of something that is different, not seen before. It's a quality that he has, and which I greatly appreciate. And I'm sure that it's not just the plot of the film, but also the way he writes it, and some of the things that he expresses through his dialogues. They're all quite exceptional, and perhaps never heard before or never seen before. That kind of a temperament in all his films. I think I can say with a certain amount of confidence that this is a plot, perhaps, that has never been seen before, at least in Indian cinema. Maybe true for cinema worldwide, but it's quite unique. And when you see the film, of course, you realize that. But it's been a great joy and a great experience to live with his thought process, to be able to fructify whatever he thought. And as I said earlier, it's basically a story of two people who have different qualities. They're exceptional in their own field, in that regimen, but they lack something which the other has. And when they come together, they actually make a lot of progress and succeed. It's more about when people come together, they can achieve a lot more than if they were by themselves or on their own. And I think that's the hidden message behind the entire script of the story, beautifully put together in the screenplay. The film deals with cinema, with films. It's all about cinema. Many facets of it that perhaps many of you have seen happening, and because news channels and the media is so prominent these days that you come to know every aspect. But it's just beautifully woven into a story the way Balki has done it.
First, it was very different, and we were actually, it was tough also to perform. because the film was first dubbed by Sir, and then I had to perform for the voice.
Right.
And then I can't take prompting. You know, if somebody prompts me, I stop in between. I can't perform. I have to know my lines and say. But to have constant prompting, and then it was beginning. It was for first 1 week, 10 days. It was a little weird for me to. And his voice is so majestic, and we've seen him. We've grown up watching his film, learning from him, and to hear his voice and not perform like him, that's even a bigger task, you know. Automatically.
You know, it's really tough sitting here and hearing all this.
So I have to say what I have to say.
You know, this is an aspect of this film which I also perhaps did for the first time. We recorded the entire script. I recorded the entire script inside a dubbing theatre, all by myself and with Balki, telling me how his vision was about how the screenplay would go. And then we filmed it and played back what was recorded. So actors performed according to the recording. And then I went and redubbed the entire film again, because his facial expressions are going to be different to my voice. And that's really what I want to say about him, which is something that he said very briefly, is that what he has done is he has remained himself as an actor and as a character in the film, but performed according to somebody else's voice. I think that that's really tough. It would be easy for me to replicate my own voice or lip sync my own voice. It's much like some of the songs that we do in our films. You know, we lip sync our songs. They're sung by, you know, eminent artists like Lata Mangeshkar and Kishore Kumar and Mohammed Rafi. But when they're singing the song, they have an expression of rendering it as a singer. But when we get the song, it's in a different situation. It could be a romantic situation, it could be a happy situation, and we perform all kinds of different movements and facial movements to match the singing that has been done. So that's the difference that comes in when he has to match my voice. And therefore I had to read up the whole thing, trying to match his expressions to my voice all over again. I think with each decade, life changes, society changes, country changes, people's thinking changes. And I think cinema is no different. It also makes these changes. From the late 60s when I came into the film industry right till now, I've had the good fortune to have worked with each generation. And I am still considering myself very fortunate to have an opportunity to work with them again. I find technically we've made a lot of progress. We never had the facilities earlier on with the kind of technology that the West has, as far as equipment and camera equipments, editing, lights, you know, all the technologies that go in there. Because we had restrictions on whether we could actually import them. But ever since the economy opened up, we've had these facilities now, and I see most of the equipment that is being used in the West now being also deployed in India. As far as the younger generation is concerned, I have great admiration for them because they are extremely talented and very aggressive, very determined to achieve their goals. They're absolutely perfect in their very first appearance, which is something that we in our generation were never, and we still aren't. But they know exactly what they have to do. They're very conversant with what is going on in the world. I marvel at their confidence and their approach to filmmaking. And I just am very, very fortunate. When I work on the sets, you know, the average age on set is about 25, 30. And I'm getting into my 73rd year, so I feel a little awkward being with them. But I love their company. I get to meet them. I spend time with them, and I learn so much from them. Cinema, in a sense, reflects society. So if India has changed over the years, then you will find those differences. I know that there are many criticisms on the content. So how do you defend that? And I say that perhaps this is what the audiences want. The cinema flourishes because of what the audiences go out and see. And if a particular film does really well, that means it had the patronage of the audiences. And so I would give credit to the audience that they have become more receptive to wanting to see better content, better performances, better technology, but mainly better content. And in that respect, I feel that some of the experimentation that has been done with stories is a lot better. Having said that, I feel that the writing, perhaps in the lyrics of our songs, have perhaps taken a beating. And I know that the younger generation is going to beat me for that. But we had a lot more time. And there weren't so many avenues of entertainment at that time. So we would appreciate, a song taking lyrical value and taking its time to be expressed. It took time for the leading man and the leading lady to express their love for each other. It took almost, half the film before you actually found out that they were in love. Today's generation says, okay, hurry up and say what you have to say and get on with it. And so it finishes in the first reel and then the rest of the story follows. It's just the speed of communication that has increased. And that has come about with many other factors. It's the way, we are communicating with each other today. Whether it's the mobile phone or whether it's the internet or the computers, it becomes so rapid, so fast, that it reflects in the way we conduct ourselves. This generation speaks really fast. And they're very cryptic in all their expressions, cool and rocking. And these are expressions that we used to use and, deploy at least 4 or 5 sentences before we could express what cool meant. But I think this part of the generation, they have decided that this is how they want to live. So that will reflect in our films.